It starts with a badge, shiny, powerful, untouchable. But beneath the polished surface, some men wear it like a mask, hiding predators, not protectors. Tonight, we rip that mask clean off. From cops who turn traffic stops into armed robberies, to officers dealing drugs they were sworn to fight. These aren't mistakes. They're betrayals. Calculated, cold-blooded betrayals. This is the dark underbelly of justice, where the wolves wear uniforms, and they finally get caught. This is dirty cops getting arrested and put behind bars. Case 1. Joseph Conover wasn't a cop. He was a tyrant dressed like one, a badge meant to protect. But what if it's used as a weapon? Joseph Conover was the chief of the Nova Agency Company Police Department in Raleigh, North Carolina. A man entrusted with safety, law, and order. Instead, he wielded his badge like a blade, cutting through rights, dignity, and lives. He didn't keep people safe. He kept them afraid. Conover wasn't just another corrupt officer. He was the nightmare version, the one who smiles while destroying you. A predator cloaked in authority, with a private police force behind him and zero accountability ahead.
A private police agency in Raleigh has pleaded guilty to abusing his powers and illegally charging people with crime.
He patrolled apartment complexes, parking lots, anywhere he had jurisdiction, and wherever he went, fear followed. From 2015 to 2016, the stories spilled out like blood. A 16-year-old boy pepper sprayed with no cause. Civilians tased, detained, humiliated. All for nothing. All for power.
Today's plea bargain covered nearly a dozen charges that the one-time chief of the Nova Police Agency lied about arrests, kidnapped victims, and did things like tase and pepper spray victims for no reason. When the DA's office found out.
And Conover, he walked tall through it all.
Conover had no comment in court, but on a YouTube video which he placed online, he talked about how he and his officers have the same powers as any police agency in the state.
They can issue citations, conduct arrests, conduct investigations, issue trespass warnings, respond to alarm calls, calls for service, pretty much anything a regular cop can do.
Convinced he'd never answer for it. He thought he was invisible. He thought the system worked for him, but predators make mistakes. And in 2016, justice snapped back. A grand jury finally cracked the illusion. More than a dozen charges: obstruction of justice, assault, failure to discharge duties. It wasn't just a fall of grace, it was a collapse. Wake County Superior Court Judge Donald Stevens didn't hold back. If you're enjoying this video, hit like and subscribe. 98% watch without subscribing. It's free for you and a game changer for me. Thanks. Now back to the video.
Donald Stevens called Joseph Conover the worst police officer there ever was. And the district attorney says the plea bargain that happened today will ensure that he never puts on a police uniform again.
He called Conover the worst police officer ever. And that wasn't hyperbole. It was the truth.
It dismissed dozens of his arrests and had him indicted by the grand jury. The plea imposes an 18-month sentence to run at the same time as his current sentence. But the DA says they wanted more than just jail time.
Conover didn't apologize. He didn't flinch. But the plea deal in 2017 made it official. Up to 18 months in prison, 3 years of probation, and one final verdict. He would never wear a badge again. It wasn't enough for the people he hurt. But it was something, a crack in the shield, a reminder. Because this isn't just about one man. This is about what happens when authority goes unchecked, when a uniform becomes a mask for cruelty, when a community cries out and no one listens. Until they do. Case 2, East Cleveland, July 2020. 2 officers, Alfonso Cole and Willie Warner Sims, were supposed to protect, but instead they were predators.
Another former East Cleveland police officer is headed to prison tonight. For the second time this week, an ex-cop from that department, rocked by 18 criminal indictments, is sentenced for robbing victims while on duty. News 5 investigator Scott Knoll was in the courtroom.
Not enforcers of the law, but thieves in uniform. They didn't stop cars to investigate or serve justice. They stopped them to steal. Their victims were always caught off guard, vulnerable, and with no one to turn to for help. One man was on his way to bury his mother when these officers took $4,000 from him. Another victim, just trying to fill up at a gas station, lost nearly $4,000 to the same corrupt officers. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was calculated. This was planned. They weren't just robbing one person here and there. They were building a pattern, using their badges to justify criminal acts. And for a while, no one caught on. But by May 2021, victims began to speak out. Complaints were filed, and the law finally turned its gaze inward. The investigation revealed the true extent of their crimes. Cole and Warner Sims were arrested, caught in a net of their own making. The court proceedings felt like a drop in the ocean compared to the damage they'd caused. Both officers pled guilty to multiple counts of robbery and theft in office. Cole was sentenced to 30 months in prison and a $40,000 fine. Warner Sims received 24 months, but the real cost wasn't measured in prison time. It wasn't even the money. It was the trust that was broken. Trust in the badge. Trust in the system. That was gone. Irreparably damaged. They didn't just steal cash, they stole the very idea of justice. And that's something that can't be replaced. Case 3, Columbus, Ohio, summer 2021.
Police detective will spend more than 5 years in a federal prison. He's one of 4 officers accused in a larger scheme to steal drugs from scenes and sell them. As of early this afternoon, 2 of them have been sentenced for their involvement.
Officer John Kotchkoski was supposed to be fighting the opioid epidemic. Instead, he was helping it grow. Yes, you heard that right. Alongside Officer Marco Merino and a confidential informant, Kotchkoski went all in. He handed over 40 kilos of cocaine. 40. Used the badge to shield his side hustle. Protected dealers, moved pills, raked in profits. They were insiders in the drug war, selling from the other side.
Now let me show you that exclusive video because again, 10 TV was there, the only station that was there when our crews watched federal agents pull up box after box of evidence from the home of Marco Merino on Tuesday. Now Merino was part of the narcotics unit with Columbus Police. Merino was arrested and then taken to the Correction Center of Northwest Ohio, but Merino was one of 2 narcotics officers who landed in jail. The other was John.
Investigators unraveled the operation. Tens of thousands in dirty cash, fentanyl deals, even a money laundering pipeline using the very system meant to stop it. Kotchkoski was hit hard. 65 months in federal prison and a court-ordered payment of $500,000. He traded duty for greed, and the sentence hit like the gavel of truth. Case 4, Baltimore. The gun trace task force was supposed to be elite. At the center of it all, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins, a man the department trusted to fight gun crime.
You have a gun and cocaine, probably I would say 2 1/4 just by looking at it.
The former head of the corrupt Baltimore Police Gun Trace Task Force wept and apologized for crimes that prosecutors say included at least 10 armed robberies, planting evidence, falsifying overtime, and selling $1 million worth of drugs, including prescriptions looted from pharmacies after Freddie Gray's death.
But Jenkins didn't fight criminals, he became one. He ran the unit like a criminal syndicate, planted evidence, falsified reports, robbed suspects, pocketed drugs, and sold them back through a bail bondsman. He wasn't a cop. He was a kingpin in uniform. Using illegal GPS trackers, he'd stalk monsters, as he called drug dealers, then raid them for cash, coke, heroin, whatever they had. His team profited. The streets suffered. Eventually, the FBI got wind. A wiretap exposed the empire. In 2017, Jenkins and 6 others were federally indicted. He pleaded guilty to a laundry list of charges: racketeering.
Jenkins decided not to fight the federal government and plead guilty. 9 counts total in 2 different indictments: racketeering, robbery, altering records, and depriving the freedom and liberty of 2 men by planting evidence in a case that sent them to prison.
Civil rights violations, fraud. In 2018, he was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. Jenkins didn't just break the law, he weaponized it. Until it turned on him. These stories aren't just about dirty cops. They're about shattered trust, stolen safety, and justice that took its damn time arriving. If this shook you, hit like, subscribe, because behind the badge, not everyone's a hero. and we'll keep bringing the truth to light. Before we continue, quick favor. Love courtroom drama and real-life justice? Then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always up to date with our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Love courtroom drama and real-life justice? Then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always up to date with our latest videos. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.